Have you ever tried one of those AI photo apps and ended up with 6 fingers, a blurry face, or a dog that looked like a melted teddy bear?
We've all seen those AI fails, and let's be honest, for business owners, that's been the problem. You want professional looking images for your website, for your social media channels, and any other type of marketing that you're doing, but AI has always looked a little bit too fake, too weird, and too unreliable.
But, hang on, Google has just dropped something called Gemini 2.5, also known as Banana. And this update might finally just change the game. So we're talking realistic, professional looking images that can save you thousands of pounds for photographers and editing costs and actually make your business look sharper online.
In today's episode, we'll explain what Gemini Banana is, how it compares to ChatGPT and other tools, and most importantly, how you, as a small business owner, can use it right now to boost your marketing.
Amazing. So welcome back to the Marketing Podcast for Local Businesses, the show that gives you practical, proven marketing advice to help you grow your business right here in the UK. I'm Adam, founder of websitedesigners.london. We've helped businesses generate tens of millions of pounds online through smarter design and marketing.
And my name's Josh. I'm the founder of ImproveMySearchRanking.com, a specialist SEO company based in South London. We've worked with well over 400 businesses, helping them generate well over £200 million in sales. And today we're talking about something that could save you money, time and stress: AI photo editing, and specifically Google's Gemini Banana update.
So, what is a photo problem in local marketing? So let's talk about this. So let's start with the reality. Every business really does need good visuals when we're talking about marketing, whether it's your business homepage for your website, your Google business profile, social media posts, or even a flyer. But getting those visuals has always been a bit of a headache. You have to pay editors, graphic designers. You can try to do it yourself on something like Canva, but it's time consuming. And really, you just want to be focusing on doing the operations of the business, whether that's making your coffee or making that cake or going to visit people's houses to unclog their pipes if you're a plumber.
Exactly, yeah. So getting visuals has always been a headache, and using stock photos is an option, but they also don't look particularly great. Customers can smell those a mile off, and it hurts your credibility and also your conversion rate from my experience. So then you can look at hiring a photographer, but as we said, that could cost hundreds, sometimes thousands of pounds, and you don't always get the flexibility you need. It could take time for them to schedule into their workflow. It could take ages to get those photos back. And there are various DIY tools out there, and you can try and do it yourself, but unless you have a studio set up, it often just doesn't cut it.
Agreed. So look, that's where people thought AI would save the day, until they realised that AI images looked a bit too unrealistic. We've all seen those people where their faces looked a bit warped, hands come out with about 7 or 8 fingers on each hand, pets looking like strange stuffed toys. And look, for business owners, that's a bit useless, quite frankly. You can't put a photo like that on your website and expect people to take you seriously.
Exactly. So that is where Gemini Banana comes in. Google has updated its AI model so it can actually handle photo editing and creation in a way that looks natural. In plain English, it doesn't mess up faces anymore. It doesn't give people extra fingers. It doesn't make your product look like a cartoon. It actually looks like a real photo.
Amazing. So look, here's what you can actually do with it. You can do so many things with it. But firstly, let's say you have an image and you want to swap the background. So let's say you've got a staff photo in your office, but you can sharpen it up, make it a clean studio-style headshot taken on your iPhone. You might have posters in the background you want to remove. You can change outfits or styles. So we just had a little play around, and Josh uploaded a picture of himself, and he made a kind of a headshot which only was, I think, from the shoulders upwards.
Yep.
You said, I don't know what you typed in there, but it gave you a nice suit, very colourful, I must say. So imagine changing outfits or style. Imagine making a branded team photo look seasonal with matching jumpers at Christmas. Mm-hmm. You can add products into lifestyle shots. So, for example, a candle in a cozy living room or a coffee cup on a trendy cafe table. Think about those big brands, Sephora, Avon, all those big brands that spend thousands and thousands on marketing. You can probably do something just as nice using Gemini or Banana, should I say. You can create seasonal versions of your photos, like a summer beach vibe and then a winter snowy one, all from the same base image. I just want to add something, by the way. This is free to use.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah, so, and importantly, it keeps things consistent. Your face stays your face, your dog stays your dog, your product looks like your actual product. And that's the big difference between previous kind of AI image generation models and this one, which is really, really important for businesses.
Absolutely, and we'll get into that detail in a little bit more. But let's talk about real business cases for you, our listeners. Let's talk about practical examples. So how can your local business use Gemini Banana right now? Well, so many different ways. But let's get into it. So if you run a service-based business like a plumber, an accountant, a solicitor, you can create a professional-looking headshot for your website and LinkedIn without paying for that studio shot. If you own a cafe or a restaurant, you can take a latte, one photo of a latte or a flat white and instantly make it seasonal. So a pumpkin spice in autumn, snowy Christmas vibes in December, iced summer versions for July. No reshoots needed. If you're, let's say, a tradesperson, you can add a van, your tools, or even branded uniforms into marketing images. In fact, we both... we had a client, didn't we, who had I don't know if you saw this, but speaking to Joe for a potential client who basically his whole website used AI. I didn't initially, from the kind of initial looks, I couldn't tell, but Joe could, so it's very interesting. I mean, for me, that looked professional, looked great. I guess to a trained eye, maybe it did look good, but that was before Banana. Yeah. So look, if you run a retail shop, another last example, you can show your products in a different style, different lifestyles. That handbag in a chic city street, or a candle in a cozy living room table.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and the best part is, you don't need a designer anymore. You can do it all yourself. You just type in what you want and AI does all the work. You don't need Photoshop. You don't need any real technical skills. You don't need a creative agency. It's accessible to everybody to use. And just on the first point, you mentioned about headshots. Just reminded me of, I've previously probably paid about £2,000-3,000 over the years combined on various headshots. Now I can just take those old headshots and just reuse them, liven them up, change the colours, change the background colour, put me in a suit or whatever I need to do.
Amazing. And before we get into the Gemini Banana versus other AI tools and comparing the two, or the 3, 4, many, why do they call it banana?
I have no idea. I guess it's memorable. We're all speaking about it, so maybe that's the reason why.
Yeah, but I guess I was going to say you do have Apple Banana. Yeah. Maybe Microsoft might come out with something like
cucumber.
Yeah, cucumber. Yeah, look. So let's move on and start comparing how it differs from the likes of ChatGPT's image generation. So let's get into it. Now we know that what you're thinking. What about ChatGPT? Doesn't that already create images? Yes, it absolutely does. Especially GPT-5 can generate images, but here's the thing. ChatGPT 5, I would say, is decent for concepts or illustrations, but I do find it does sometimes struggle with realism, photorealism. If you're a business owner, you don't really want a cartoon, you want a believable photo. And then there's, sorry, go on. You take it away with whatever other bits.
Yeah, so there's other tools like Midjourney and DALL, which they're brilliant for creative type things, arty visuals and the like, but often their style was almost too stylish and too stylized for a flyer or your website or your Google business profile. It looks more like digital art than a kind of professional brand photo.
Agreed. And I have had some joy with X's Grok. I do find that pretty good. It does take a while to generate the images. I think ChatGPT 5 takes even longer. mean, for example, with our podcast itself, the episodes, some of those episodes we've used ChatGPT, and I do have to go and make myself a coffee by the time it loads the image, but we'll have to give Gemini a go and see how that differs. So, guys, if you see an improvement in our artwork for each episode, let us know in the comments what you think and see if it's improved. Look, Gemini Banana is different because it is built for realism. It's more like a 24/7 product photographer than an artist. And from early reports, allegedly, it's up to 6 times faster than some of its rivals. So it's practical, quick, and business ready.
But of course, we can't ignore the ethical angle and the risks. If anyone can create a realistic photo in seconds, how do customers know what's real and what's fake? That's why Google has embedded some what's called watermarks, invisible watermarks, so edits can be traced in the kind of source code of the image. But as business owners, we also need to be responsible. Agreed.
Exactly. It's use it to enhance, not to mislead. If you're showing a burger on your menu, make it look like it's best, but don't swap it for an AI version that looks nothing like what you actually serve, because customers ultimately want authenticity, and trust sells more than trickery. Ultimately, if I'm going to McDonald's and they've advertised something that looks so appealing to me, and I go in there, and to be fair, they do that. Imagine, get a cheeseburger from McDonald's, and they put this one little miserable pickle in the middle of the burger, and a measly amount of ketchup. Not that I eat ketchup, I don't like it, but it just doesn't look like the images, right? But ultimately, it's not too far off.
Yeah.
It's not misleading.
I wonder what the advertising kind of standards agencies are going to have to say about this kind of stuff. But then when he's just spoke about McDonald's, that made me think of I've seen how they do those photo shoots, and they don't actually use a real burger. They're using all sorts of random
clips of plastic.
Yeah, so they're not really advertising the real product either. So how does that differ from using AI, I wonder?
Yeah, agreed.
Interesting to see. Cool. So just to wrap up, here's the bottom line. Good photos sell, and with Gemini 2.5 Banana, small businesses finally have an affordable tool that creates professional, realistic images without the cost of a professional shoot. It's actually free. Yeah, it's not affordable, it's free.
Yeah. If you've been stuck with photos or no photos at all, this is absolutely your chance to stand out online and go look like the go-to business in your area. So make sure you give it a whirl. It's literally Gemini, spelled GEMINI.google.com.
Yeah, and we'd love to hear from you. If you could edit just one photo of your business with Gemini Banana, what would it be? Message us on the Spotify comments or wherever you listen to this podcast, or even on Instagram, and we might feature your example in a future episode.
Absolutely. Thanks for tuning in to the Marketing Podcast for Local Business. Don't forget to hit that follow, subscribe button so you never miss the next marketing strategy that could give your business the edge. Thanks for listening.